This is your math toolbox for the ILTS Mathematics. K-6, 407, every formula and visual model you need, what each one means, and exactly when to reach for it on exam day. Base 10 blocks make place value concrete and visible. 200 flats, 3 10 rods, and 4 unit cubes build the number 234, matching the expanded form 200 plus 30 plus 4. A teacher reaches for these blocks when students need to see regrouping happen physically, and the same blocks model decimals when the flat is redefined as one whole. This number line stretches from 0 to 1 and is cut into 10 equal parts, so each tick mark is 1/10. Placing 0.3 on this line shows students that 3/10 is a specific location, not just digits after a dot. Teachers use this model when students confuse decimal size, for example believing 0.39 is larger than 0.4 because it has more digits. The distributive property says a times the quantity b plus c equals a times b plus a times c. In plain words, you multiply the outside factor by each piece inside, and then add. This is the property behind partial products, the area model, and every time a student breaks a number apart to make multiplication easier. Decompose 27 into its tens and ones using expanded form, setting up the distributive property. Multiply 6 by each part separately. This is exactly what the distributive property licenses. Add the two partial products to get the final answer. The area model splits a multiplication problem into a rectangle where each section holds one partial product. Here a height of 6 spans two columns of width 20 and width 7, producing regions of 120 and 42. Teachers use this model to make the distributive property visible and to bridge from concrete decomposition to the standard multiplication algorithm. The commutative property of addition states that a plus b equals b plus a. Order does not matter when you add. This property is the reason students can count on from the larger addend, which is a foundational first-grade strategy. When an exam item asks which property allows reordering addends, this is the one to name. The commutative property says order does not change the sum, so starting with either number is mathematically justified. Counting on 3 from 9 is easier than counting on 9 from 3, so the strategy is both valid and efficient. The associative property of addition says the grouping of addends does not change the sum. Parentheses can move without changing the answer. In spoken form, quantity a plus b and quantity plus c equals a plus quantity b plus c. This is the property that justifies the make-attend strategy that teachers build from kindergarten through second grade. Rewrite 7 as 2 plus 5, then regroup so 8 and 2 are added first, making 10. Adding to a 10 is straightforward, and the associative property guarantees regrouping does not change the total. The commutative property of multiplication states that a times b equals b times a. You can swap the factors, and the product stays the same. Teachers use arrays to make this visible. A 3 by 8 array turned on its side becomes an 8 by 3 array with the same total dots. On the exam, this property explains why factor order is flexible in multiplication strategies. The commutative property of multiplication says the order of factors does not change the product. The student finds it easier to skip count by 8 3 times. The property confirms the result is identical. This fraction bar divides one whole into 4 equal parts and shades exactly 1, representing the unit fraction 1/4. Unit fractions are the building blocks of all fractions. 3/4 is simply 3 copies of 1/4. Teachers use the fraction bar when students need to see that every fraction names a relationship between a part and a defined whole, and that the whole must stay constant for comparisons to be valid. Finding percent means dividing the part by the whole and multiplying by 100. In words, percent equals part divided by whole times 100. This formula connects fractions, decimals, and percents all in one step, which is exactly the kind of cross-domain link the 6th grade number system standards require. Identify part as 18 and whole as 24, then substitute into the formula. Divide first to get the decimal, then multiply by 100 to convert to a percent. The cross products property says that if A over B equals C over D, then A times D equals B times C. In a proportion, the two cross-multiplied products are always equal. This is the algebraic engine behind ratio and rate problems at grade 6, and it connects directly back to fraction equivalence reasoning students built in grades 3 through 5. Set up the proportion so both ratios compare miles to hours consistently. Apply the cross products property. Multiply diagonally across the equal sign. Divide both sides by 3 to isolate x, and get the answer. A tape diagram represents a ratio by drawing bars whose lengths are proportional to the values being compared. Here part A spans 3 units, and part B spans 5 units, making the ratio 3 to 5 immediately visible as a whole. Teachers use tape diagrams for ratio and rate problems because the visual keeps the referent whole in view, which helps students avoid the common error of treating a part as if it were the whole. The mean, or average, is found by summing all values and dividing by how many values there are. Read it as x bar equals the sum of all x values divided by n. The mean is a measure of center in a data set, and understanding it conceptually as the balance point of a distribution is the kind of statistical reasoning the upper elementary and grade 6 standards emphasize. Add all values together to get the total sum. Divide by n, the number of values, which is 4, to find the mean. Keep this toolbox sharp. For the interactive formula sheet, flashcards, and every practice test, head to TeacherPreps.com.